First, allow me to establish protocol for this evening. District Governor Leslie Ramdhanny, past District Governor Sonya Alleyne, past District Governors, Assistant Governors, District Governor-elect Brian Glasgow, District Governor nominee Debbie, District Officers, Club Presidents, District Rotary Representatives, Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors, and guests. Good evening and welcome to our first ever District Interact Conference. My name is Soraya Augustine, a member of the Interact Club of Castries Comprehensive Secondary School located in St. Lucia. Over the next few days, myself and my fellow interactors will be your guide as we introduce you to some amazing presentations on a variety of topics from some very engaging speakers. We are looking forward to having a great time with you all. And with no further ado, I am privileged to introduce our District Interact Chair, Soraya Warner-Gustave, serving in this capacity now for a second Rotary year. DIC Soraya, who is also a past club president, began her Rotary journey in March 2010 with the Rotary Club of St. Lucia. At the district level, she has been honored to serve as district secretary to past District Governor Leslie Chase during the Rotary year 2020 to 2021. District Interact Chair Soraya is a Paul Harris Fellow and is passionate about Interact. She is keenly focused on the upcoming scaling of youth in service and leadership, and by extension, shaping leaders for the future. Professionally, District Interact Chair Soraya is a corporate banking professional and holds postgraduate certification in business administration from the University of Leicester in the UK. Fellow attendees, let us give our District Interact Chair Soraya, who has been the driving force behind our inaugural Interact Conference and Awards, a hearty welcome to the podium to deliver introductory remarks.
Welcome everyone to our inaugural, our first ever Interact Conference and Awards. Under the theme, Serve to Change Lives, Starting with Me, which begins this evening with our pre-conference event and flows into our two conference sessions on Saturday and Sunday. Powerful speakers along the way, as you've already heard, and culminating in our first Interact Awards ceremony. This evening has a focus on personal branding, but then our sub-themes extend to peace building, leadership, the impact of Interact, the importance of youth advisors, and then the grand finale, our Interact Changemaker and District Governor Awards. You do not want to miss any of these sessions. We are just so excited that we've arrived at this juncture, an interactive event led by interactors, an awesome journey comprising multiple partnerships, and we are certainly looking forward to these 3 evenings of Interact action. We have in our midst a talented and enthusiastic group of 43 interactors representing 19 clubs, one of whom you've already met, who have volunteered to be the co-hosts and MCs for this conference and awards. We are told, well, at least our conference chair, Conrad, has told us that this is a very unique approach to a Zoom conference. But we also know that this is District 7030, where we are unique, where we are trailblazers, and always ready to accept a new challenge and interact as a developing community, developing force within our district is no different. The District Interact Committee has a mandate to engage, empower, and inspire our Interact clubs, to create opportunities for our young members to think big and do big. And this conference is a start in that direction. At the beginning of the 2021 Rotary year, we began as a committee to imagine the possibility of a first Interact conference. And we would like to thank IPDG Sonya for giving us the nod way back then to put these wheels in motion, as well as DG Leslie for embracing this conference so early in the new Rotary year. But this is essentially one of the big dreams of the Interact Committee being fulfilled, with many spin-offs, as we are able to bring our interactors together in this forum to encourage their involvement at the district level, to showcase their contributions, turning this dream into a reality. The turnout here this evening is just fantastic, and our interactors are raring to go. I thank you all for your attendance and hand over to our conference presenter to invite our next speaker to the virtual podium. Thank you so much.
Thank you, District Interact Chair Soraya. We are definitely unique, I must say. And now I introduce Anura from the Interact ASJA Girls College.
I'm honored to introduce our dynamic immediate past district governor, Sonya, Alleyne. IPDG Sonya joined the Rotary Club of Barbados South in June 2004, became a member of the board of directors in 2005, and has served in every capacity on the board, ironically, except for treasurer. She has served as assistant governor in 2014-2015 on the District Public Image Committee for 2 years, and as our district governor for 2021-2022. IPD's Sonya is a discussion leader for the Rotary Leadership Institute's Sunshine Division and a past District 7030 RLI director. She has also served as Rotary Conference Chair for District 7030 and is a Paul Harris Fellow. IPD Sonya is a trained accountant with over 30 years of experience. She is the Chief Financial Officer and Head of Operations at the Barbados Family Planning Association. Her career has exposed her to several aspects of the accounting profession and industries in Barbados and the Caribbean. IPDG Sonya has also been a mentor on the Commonwealth Women's Association scheme, where she liaises and guides young women across the Commonwealth. I invite our immediate past district governor, Sonya Alleyne, to the virtual podium.
Good evening. What an absolute joy this is to be here with you this evening. One, I'm the IPDG. Two, that this is the culmination of many, many months of planning from this District Interact Committee. I have to say, absolutely thank you to all on that committee for making this a reality and for being that source of inspiration to me as the governor in the past Rotary year. But you guys, you interactors are the ones who really allow me and give me that motivation to get up and get moving, get behind our Rotary family in District 7030. This district shines brightly in the crown of the zone. And I stand here a very proud immediate past district governor now for being your leader in the past year. This conference has speakers that ordinary people don't get a chance to hear. I hope you spread the word. This weekend will change your lives. This weekend will renew your commitment to service, and you'll be able to see why we are who we are when we say that we're members of that Rotary family. Congratulations to all of you, all you interactors out there who have signed up for this weekend, who will be here throughout the weekend, making sure that you take in all that is being offered. I have every confidence that the conference team has done an awesome job on preparing you for your leadership roles of the future. Thank you all for your service in the past year, for your outstanding projects, but most of all, for being you. change maker Rotarians and people that are going to take District 7030 to higher heights. I really appreciate this opportunity, Soraya, for allowing me to speak to you and welcome you here this evening. I've just gotten off a plane. I thought that I was going to miss my call time because you know how it is, delays and everything, but I'm here. I'm going to stick around for just a few minutes, but I really need to get some sleep. It's very late where I was. So enjoy the evening. I'm going to see you on the weekend. Have a blast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, immediate past District Governor Sonya. Now, I'll call on Interactor Chisholm from Interact BAHSE for official vote of thanks.
Fellow Interactors, Rotaractors, Rotarians, and friends of Rotary, it is my great honor and privilege to deliver a vote of thanks to our immediate past District Governor, Sonya Alleyne, on behalf of our Interact community. IPDG Sonya, thank you very much for delivering these opening remarks at our inaugural Interact conference and awards. We are so grateful for your words of encouragement, words of inspiration, for your passion and interest in Interact, which shone through your delivery. You are without a doubt a champion for Interact, and it is with deep appreciation that we say thank you for your remarks and for all the support provided. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Interactor Chisholm. I would now like to invite Interactor Sabrina from Interact Shiva Boys Hindu College to the screen.
I am elated to introduce our remarkable District Governor, Leslie Ramdhanny, a Rotary Club Grenada East Charter member established in October 1977. DG Leslie served in all of the board portfolios in the club and is a 5-term past assistant governor for the Rotary clubs in Grenada. Our district governor is a Paul Harris Fellow +5 and a member of the Paul Harris Society. At the district level, DG Leslie served as chair in several capacities, including the Rotary Foundation Fundraising Committee and International Service. DG Leslie obtained a Bachelor of Science Honours in Agricultural Science from the University of the West Indies and is the chairman of a family-owned hardware company, LL Ramdhanny & Co. Limited. He has been in business for over 47 years. He has served as director on many national boards, including the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Grenada Solid Waste Management Company, and the Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited. DG Leslie grew up on a family-owned biodiverse farm and is passionate about the environment and sustainability. Additionally, he's enthusiastic about outdoor activities, including sport fishing, walking, and farming. Please join me in welcoming District 7030 Governor Leslie Ramdhanny to the virtual podium.
Good evening and thank you. Thank you so much for having me here with you to partake in your Interact District Conference. This is certainly a first timer, and I knew that it took quite some planning by your DIC, Soraya, and I really want to congratulate you, Soraya, and your team for putting this wonderful event together. It is indeed a pleasure to see so many interactors gathered here for this conference, this Interact conference. It means so much to see that we have young persons so keen and so committed to interact, so keen and so committed to developing themselves that, you know, all of this augurs well for Rotary in the future. As your name suggests, Interact means international and action, and I do look forward to a conference filled with action, with so many different speakers that we have with us this evening, going forwards, this evening and going forwards, that I'm certain it will be an exciting and eventful conference. A conference that you will take back a lot of great memories, a lot of great wisdom that will be bestowed upon you, that you can take back to your respective clubs to improve them as you continue on your Interact journey. I am certainly pleased to be here with you for the next 3 days, listening to all these speeches being delivered and to view your participation online. It is indeed a pleasure to be here, and I wish you a very successful Interact conference this evening onwards. As I do want to remind you of what immediate past District Governor Sonya said, that we do expect to see all of you engaged for the next 3 days, taking full participation in this conference. So once again, I thank you for being here with you, and I wish you a very successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, District Governor Leslie. And now I'd like to hand you all over to Interact Nandi from Interact Shiva Boys Hindu College to do an official vote of thanks.
Fellow Interactors, Rotaractors, Rotarians, and friends of Rotary, I am honored to have been given the opportunity to deliver the vote of thanks to our District Governor, Leslie Ramdhanny, on behalf of our Interact community. District Governor Leslie, thank you very much for being here to deliver these introductory remarks at our pre-conference event, a prelude to our inaugural Interact Conference and Awards. We appreciate your words of inspiration and thank you for your all support and encouragement expressed. As our new District Governor, we are eagerly looking forward to getting to know you and interacting with you this new Rotary year. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Interactor Nandi, for those lovely words. And now I would like to, unfortunately, I have to announce that our next presenter, Ian, is unable to join us this evening. So now I'd like to hand you all over to Interactor Andrew to introduce our next speaker.
Good evening, everyone. I am pleased to introduce District 7030 Communications Officer and Public Image Chair, Sean Paddy. Chair Sean joined the Rotary Club of Port of Spain in Trinidad in 2010 and has served multiple capacities, including Secretary, Treasurer, and Chair of almost every club and committee. He was appointed Assistant Regional Public Image Coordinator in Zone 34 for 2021 through to 2025. Within Zone 34, Chair Sean also serves on several committees and task forces, including Empowerment of Girls, Rotary Works, and Rotary Serves. By trade, our District Communications Officer is a consultant. He's a problem solver and creator of opportunity. With a diversified background in marine science, geoinformatics, spatial data infrastructure, and international law and policy, Chair Sean has worked across the USA, UK, Europe, and the Caribbean for many years, building his experience. Our District Public Image Chair, Sean, is an avid advocate for youth training and development, and is committed to supporting and enhancing youth services in Rotary wherever possible. Our District Public Image Chair will be presenting on public image, our club's brand, your club's brand rather. We all know that our public image is how we are perceived by the world, and that the actions of each member, their participation in the community, their presence on social media and publications produced will all shape that view and perception. So how do we know or ensure that our public image is in line with Rotary's requirements? Without further delay, I welcome Chair Sean to the virtual podium to share his expertise on public image. Over to you, Mr. Chair Sean.
Thank you, Andrew. That was a most well-delivered introduction, if I've heard one before. Thank you to the conference committee for allowing me some time to speak to you guys. Even more frighteningly, the fact that I'm kind of the first person to speak to you guys. And so I wanted to kind of make a little bit of an impact when I did that, hence Yeah. So we're going to be talking a little bit about branding today and public image. And, you know, it's a topic that may or may not come up sometimes with interactors and interact clubs. And a lot of it may be familiar to some of you guys in an informal way. And some of it may be a bit unfamiliar to you guys. So, you know, we're going to spend a little bit of time trying to make sure we cover all the bases as much as possible. As Andrew, person before Andrew mentioned, this slot was really supposed to be covered by a good friend of mine, Ian Royer, who unfortunately injured himself and, you know, really couldn't make it. He really wanted to be here, but, you know, couldn't. So I just decided I'll jump in and, you know, fill in for him as much as possible. So I'm gonna just preface this entire thing by saying it was a bit last minute. I apologize if it's a little unpolished, but I think I covered most of it for you guys. What I want to ensure, and, you know, because we're dealing with, you know, you guys as interactors, and possibly we have some persons from your sponsor Rotary clubs, as well as your advisors and whatnot. I want to make sure that we keep this, you know, a bit interesting, and it's not just going to be me talking. I want to kind of hear from you guys while I'm talking. So please feel free to use the chat box if you need to ask any questions while I'm talking. You don't have to wait till the end. We'll save a little bit of time for some formal questions at the end. But if you have, you know, a really pertinent question, don't wait. Put it in the chat box. If I can answer it right away while I'm on whatever particular topic I'm going to be speaking on, I'll answer it right away. You know, I also got a few little kind of questions and polls for you guys to kind of participate in. So, you know, be as active as you can. If you're on your phone, you know, just make sure that things pop up for you. Yeah, let's kind of get the ball rolling here, because I want to make sure I, you know, don't bore you guys to death and talk too much. So let's hope this works properly. All right, there I am, and you can't see everything on my screen, or can you? No?
Yes, we can, Sean. You're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. So just so that as you can see right now, and I did this on purpose, I am blocking parts of my screen. And worse yet, I am blocking the district brand. And, you know, in a lot of cases that happens in Zoom meetings, right? Somebody's face, or whether it's an inset or whether it's kind of how I'm doing it, they're going to end up blocking something on the screen. And that's kind of always a no-no. So, you know, because we're going to be talking a little bit about public image and about branding and whatnot, obviously, one of the first no-nos I want to kind of point out to you guys, whether you're doing something online, whether you're doing it in person, don't block anything, right? Especially don't block your logo. Don't block, you know, any kind of verbiage or any kind of wording that may be behind you or whatever. You know, try and find a good position to stand in, sit in. You know, people can see you, but you're not blocking anything. So because I did that on purpose, right, I'm now going to correct it by kind of just doing this. Yeah. So, okay. Let's delve a little bit into branding and public image, how to present yourself and your club in the best way possible, in you know, whether it's online or whether it's in person. These things are kind of key. You know, we hear about them a lot in Rotary. Rotary clubs hear about public image constantly. Rotaract clubs as well. But, you know, I'm personally not sure how much of it actually, you know, gets to interact clubs, how important it is to have a proper brand, to have good public image, you know, to make sure that you guys are putting yourselves out there, putting your clubs out there in the best way possible, in the best light possible. And when we use the term public, we pretty much mean, you know, everybody. And everybody includes the members of your club. You know, it's not just about persons outside of your club. It's persons in your club as well. The members of your club should know what your brand is, should consistently, you know, have a solid public image to refer to. in your club, about your club. So we're going to jump into it a little bit by kind of taking a quick poll. Yeah. And again, I really want you guys to participate in this. So on your screen, you should have a new little window that popped up, and pretty much everybody can participate in this. So the first question that I wanted to ask, just to kind of see how everybody felt about it or knew about it, is, what do you think branding is, right? What does it mean to you? Where have you heard the term before? In what context? Which one of those answers really kind of jump out at you as the best answer to what branding is? So I see we got 7 people so far responding. I know we got more than 7 people on the call, so guys, feel free, jump in. If you don't see the box on your screen, you can always just check your device and see if you're missing something, if you need to click a window or whatnot. Cool. All right, so what I got, oh, here we go. We got a lot more people chiming in here. Great. I know you guys can't see it. I can see it, and a few of the rest of us can see it. But yeah, awesome. I'm gonna just give it 10 more seconds, right? Again, what does branding mean to you? Which one of those answers really shoots out at you as the best answer to what is branding? All right, cool. That's 10 seconds. So I want to share the results with you. Hopefully you guys can see it. So the best answer there was all of the above, which, pretty much 75% of you answered, right? Some of you guys said it's the logo. Some of you guys said it's a phrase. Some of you guys said it's a speech. Some of you guys said it's none of the above. I would be so interested to hear what, which one you thought it wasn't, and what you did think it was. But that's awesome. I mean, pretty much, yeah, all of the above was the best answer out of the ones that were on your screen, right? It is about your logo. It is about, a certain phrase, and a phrase could be anything from your club taglines of your club. And again, even though it's interact we're talking about here, you're never too young to start branding, right? Interact clubs are going to be active in doing projects still. They're going to be engaged with, other members of society, other, sometimes it's businesses, sometimes it's community groups, sometimes it's, the persons who are receiving the help that you're providing. You want to make sure that you get the right message out there. So sometimes, you got to give a little bit of a speech. So a speech is also part of your branding, how well you say it, what you say. So, I threw this in, and I'm the type of person, I hate when people do this, right? So again, I did this on purpose to demonstrate, kind of what's good and what's bad for clubs sometimes, especially when it comes to speaking on a topic, doing a presentation. I'm using these as kind of good and bad examples on purpose. So a bad example sometimes when you're giving a presentation is to do something like this and put up, a bunch of words on the screen. And then the worst thing you can do is just read what's on the screen to your audience, right? So if I was to start going like, well, guys, let me tell you what branding is. Branding is the conscious and intentional effort to create and influence public, persons who can see the screen can read it themselves. So this is kind of a no-no, but it does demonstrate, and it does kind of really define what branding is. And the key element here, a lot of the times, maybe a lot of words, but, no meaning. So persons usually have this reaction to those kind of definitions, right? They're just like, what the hell are you talking about? I have no clue what he just said. So, I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of break it down for you guys a little bit, and I'm referring back to that definition, which I never really should have had on screen to begin with. But I'm taking the elements that it mentioned and breaking it down for you guys. So within that definition, it spoke about action, right? And the action that they're referring to is to really create and influence public perception. And that's what we're really talking about here when we're talking about branding, is public perception. And I'll reemphasize again, when we use the term public, we also mean within our, it's at home too. And by at home, I mean within your clubs or among your clubs. All of that is the public. Your members are part of the public. So, the action that you're seeking when you're talking about branding and when you're talking about public image is to really help influence the perception of your members, other clubs. And by other clubs, I mean other Interact clubs or your sponsored Rotary clubs or just, the Rotary family in general. And then, everybody else, right? Everybody else being your communities, your neighbors, your friends, your family, your whatever it may be. And, the way we look at public perception or the way public perception really is kind of influenced, it's all to do with things like, the authority, the person, how much authority, how much of an expert is the person who's putting out that brand in that particular field or about that particular subject? How much credibility do they really have? And do they really differentiate themselves from everybody else who's out there? And that's how you can really influence public perception. That's how your brand can stand out. If you're seen as an expert, as an authority on it, if you're seen as having good credibility, and if you're seen as distinguishing yourself or differentiating yourself, that's how you can bring about that action and change and create, first create, then change, then influence public perception about your brand. The definition also spoke about some goals, right? The whole reason for creating and influencing public perception is a kind of means to an end, right? And what it does for you as an individual and what it does for your club is it helps kind of elevate your status a bit. It gives you a little bit more credence, whether it's on a personal level, a professional level, a social level, whether it's, again, within your community or among other clubs. It also helps you kind of increase demand. Now, demand could be anything from personally, when you look at personal demands, it's like, hey, how many people actually want to be your friend? Or it could be things like, hey, how many persons want to be kind of in your social circle? How many persons want to be involved in the things that you're involved in? When you're talking about things at a professional level, and I know while you guys, and a lot of you guys may be interactors, and some of you guys may be, what we'll call older interactors, finishing up secondary school. Some of you may be going into the world of work afterwards. Some of you may be going on to university. Some of you may be, kicking back, who knows? But, you want a certain demand for your brand, personally, professionally, and within the Rotary family as well, right? From a professional standpoint, obviously you want to be, have a demand so that people kind of want you to come and work for them. And a lot of that comes back again to the image you put out there for yourself, the brand that they can see that represents, Tom or Susie or Mary. The other two goals, is really, the stronger your brand, the more influence you have. And we all kind of know, we've heard the term influence kind of escalates in terms of use in the last few years with so many, social media influencers, right? And what gives those people influence is their brand, right? What allows them to have hundreds of thousands to millions of followers and be a social media influencer is their brand. And then last but not least, one of the goals is to, just be able to have a better impact or greater impact. That's what a stronger brand allows. That's what a stronger image that the public sees allows. You can just have more impact. So as a Rotaract club, that's about providing community service. That's about helping others. You want to always make sure that you have good impact. You want to make sure that your projects and the work that you do, are not just sustainable, but are significant enough. And that's where impact comes in. So we're going to do another quick poll. Yeah. We're going to actually do this quicker than the last one. So everybody's kind of, now that we know how polls work and we know, what to do in a poll, I'm pretty much giving this poll like 20 seconds, right? So if you guys take a look at your screens, you should be seeing the second poll. So the second poll is essentially asking, what is personal branding? And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just differentiate slightly, when we're talking about branding, between personal branding, which deals with you as an individual, you as a, an entity upon yourself. And then we're going to talk a little bit, near the end about your club's brand and your club's image and whatnot. So this first part of it is all about you. It's all about your personal brand, right? And, what you think it is. Is it about the way you look? Is it about the way you talk? Is it about, what you do? Is it the way others see you, right? Is it just about, your online presence? Those are kind of the aspects that a lot of people look at when they hear the term personal brand. So that's 20 seconds if I counted it right. So let me end this and kind of share it with you guys. Oops. There we go. You guys should be able to see it. So again, 90% of you answered all of the above. And you know what? I will actually say that that was the best answer, but there's kind of a close second best answer. And the close second best answer that I put in on purpose is the way others see you. And I'm glad that at least, 7, 8, 9% of you clicked that one, right? The way others see you. That's kind of what branding is about too. It is really about the way others see you. And, how others see you deals a lot with the other factors, right? The way you look, the way you talk, the actions you take. So, again, I did another no-no, right? I just put a bunch of words on the screen and, but I'm not going to read it, right? But I just put it up for you guys to kind of see, a formal definition, or at least one formal definition of what personal branding is. And it's, again, all about identity, and it's about, consistency and look and message and feel and whatnot. And another key aspect is that, it applies whether it's online or offline, whether you, and it applies in many different facets, especially now when, you yourself as a brand, as an individual, as somebody who's putting stuff out there to the world, have so many avenues to do it now. And, so we got to be a little careful in how we do, not just how we do it, but where we're doing it as well. So when it comes to personal branding, right? Question is, why is it important? I get asked that a lot. Why should I really care about this? What's the big deal? And what you find is a lot of persons ask that question from about personal branding, and usually the younger you go, the more you get asked, why should I care about it? I'm 15, 16, why should I really care about my personal brand? It's a tricky thing, and I'm kind of going to speak about it on another slide, but essentially you're looking at the how and the what, the how you're known and the what you're known for when you're talking about personal brand, right? And again, I can never emphasize it enough in terms of who this has impact on, right? And it's your friends and your peers, it's your family, it's the public. And particularly for us as a part of the Rotary family that are helping others, it's by, someone you may need. And someone you may need may be, someone you're approaching for a job. It may be someone you need actual help with. Hey, some of us sometimes need help with our, assignments in school or homework or stuff like that. And, I'm sure we've all, had to sometimes go and ask somebody, but you're not too sure exactly how they're going to react when you ask them. And a lot of that may be, you're not sure how they perceive you. You're not sure what they really think of you. And that kind of comes back to, the brand that you're putting out there. Because of course, like we said before, it's all about how people see you and what message you're putting out there to people. Are you a friendly person or an unfriendly person? Are you someone that's approachable or someone that's not approachable. All that is part of your brand. And then of course, it's a little bit about reputation as well. And this comes back to, you know, why is it really important to you? Reputation is a hell of a thing, right? It is, you know, something that people kind of use the word very casually. Oh, I have a really stellar reputation, or, you know, oh, I don't want to do this because it'll affect my reputation. Here's something that I really want, if you remember nothing else that you walk away with from this thing, is that, you know, nowadays, reputation, no matter whenever it starts for you, and really and truly, it starts at a younger and younger age all the time, because so many of us are communicating with each other, representing ourselves at a younger and younger age, particularly online. Reputation is something that sticks around. There are so many cases and even, you know, a whole new field of business and industry that's developed over the years that's called reputation management, right? Where what, you know, people didn't realize that all this stuff that they did 5, 10, 15 years ago is still online and people can find it. So, you know, you might have stopped doing it, but it's still there. And it's still kind of, because it's still there, it could still be conceived as and perceived as part of your brand. So there's this whole thing, a whole new field and whole new industry called reputation management. It's kind of funny, right? You pay people to go and find bad stuff about you online and they get rid of it, particularly if you're looking for a job, right? So again, the key thing here to remember is a good reputation and a good brand starts as early as it can. Or I should say should start as early as it can, because it, you know, it kind of survives. It survives more so online these days than anything else. So you got to be a little careful. So I threw this together because I knew at the end of it, I probably will end up, you know, sharing this presentation, and you guys, you know, wanted to get a copy of it and whatnot. So I said, let me throw this in for you guys. Because I know it's a big question when you talk about personal branding, right? What do you need to consider? What are the rules? So, I mean, again, I'm not going to read it off for you guys, but essentially what it comes down to is make sure that it's clear. Make sure that the ambiguity surrounding your personal brand is at a minimum, right? You want to make sure that there's always a clear and concise message about you that's being put out there. You want to make sure that the story about you is out there. That's what we're all about, is kind of like human beings and communities. We're all about stories, right? And the context of a story is key. And the context of a story about you usually comes back to your brand, your image, what people think about you, and why they think that way about you. So make sure that the story about you that's going out there is a good story. Similarly, so make sure that the story that's going out about your club or about a project or an activity that your club did is a good story, and you dictate it. Don't let somebody else dictate it, you know, for you. You, as a member of that club, should be the one putting it out there. You know, you always have to consider the other side of the fence, right? The downside of things as well. And there is always going to be a downside, and that's not a big deal because it's always there for everybody. It's just about you recognizing that it's there and you being able to have some level of management on it. You know, and it's just about really being aware and trying to tackle things before, you know, they escalate. A good example of that is a rumor may start spreading, right? And that rumor may, you know, could potentially damage your brand and could potentially damage your image. So you want to make sure that, you know, you kind of cut that off as early as possible. Put good messages out there that, you know, will have people going like, yeah, I don't believe that rumor. There's no way that could be it. You need to get out in front of it before it gets out in front of you. Wear your brand on your sleeves. So this is always a really kind of good message, and it's a bit of a double meaning message here, right? What it means kind of informally is make sure that, you know, you walk and talk your brand, right? Make sure that that's what you're putting out there. What it formally means, more so from a interact or a member of the Rotary family side is, you know, brand yourself, interact, right? You know, sometimes it could be with your t-shirts, sometimes it could be with, you know, pins and whatnot. Brand yourself, make sure that, you know, people know that you're an interactor, make sure they know about your club. And then the last one there is about leaving a legacy, right? And remember what I said before when it comes to reputation. Reputation sticks around. You know, it could be 5, 10, 15 years later. It's still around somewhere. And with regards to a legacy that you want to have for your personal brand, you want to make sure that it's a positive legacy that you're leaving behind. So always keep in mind that, you know, it's not just about what's in front of you, but it could also be about what's behind you. So you want to make sure that what's behind you, hey, we're not saying that, you know, mistakes can't be made and whatnot, but, you know, as much as possible, once you make that conscious decision to start really paying attention to your personal brand and your image, make sure that the legacy that you leave behind, whether it is as an individual or as a club, is a positive one. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box, so I'll just remind everybody, if you have a question about anything that's up on the screen at the time, let me know, right? I'll pause and answer it if anything's unclear for you guys. So, you know, we looked at, you know, kind of the how, and, you know, this is kind of a little bit more on the what you may need to do exactly when it comes to your personal brand. And again, it's kind of self-explanatory a little bit when it, you know, you need to make sure. And again, a lot of this stuff is not just for personal. It can also apply to your club if you tweak it a bit. But you want to make sure that, you know, there's a proper definition for yourself. Who are you as you know, John Smith, or who are you as Jane Doe, right? Who is Jane Doe to everybody else? Define yourself as an interactor, define yourself as a young person, define yourself as somebody who helps the community around them. You know, you can have multiple definitions about yourself. That's not the problem, right? But make sure that it's the right definition about yourself. Presence is always a key thing as well, right? And that pretty much means you might have the right definitions, but if you don't get it out there, if you don't establish a presence for yourself or for your club, yeah, not too many people may know. And that's kind of also about brand awareness too, right? Whether it's personal or with regards to your club. Network, get the word out there, right? I'll cover the 3 C's of branding afterwards, but I just put it in there just to make sure that, you know, it's part of the tips that you need. And then last but not least is about feedback, right? You want to know what people think about your brand so that you can make corrections to it, so that you can know, are you doing things right or are you doing things wrong? So feedback is key, and feedback can come from anybody. It can come from, again, family, friends, other members of your club, members from other clubs, the general public. Just ask somebody, hey, you know, what do you think about this? Or is there a way we can do this better? Oh, wait, I got a question. Yay. I didn't get it from an interactor. Boo. Right. So we have Dina asking a question there. Do you think the idea of personal branding is commonly misunderstood? Yeah. Hence the reason why I'm doing this, so that, you know, it's a clear idea of what it is and how to go about it. You know, again, a lot of times people hear the term personal branding and they think that they have to go out and hire somebody, or they think that, you know, they need to slap their face on a t-shirt and walk around with it. That's just, you know, not necessarily the case all the time. Okay, so the aspect here with regards to online presence. And again, I can't emphasize enough, a lot of what we do when it comes to branding and when it comes to personal or public image is online. That's the avenue that a lot of us have on a daily basis to put our brand out there, and all of us can do it. You know, before the internet, you know, that people were limited in how they can get their brand out there. Brands still existed, but they were limited, and people were limited in how they can get their own brand out there, or even their club brand out there. But now, because we're so networked, excuse me, because we're so networked and connected, it's easy. and I'm sure a lot of you may agree with this, some of you may disagree, but more persons know your brand and know you online than offline, right? And so your online presence is key. And, you know, most of us have an online presence mainly through social media. And social media, believe it or not, whether from a personal or professional perspective, has become the go-to standard and practice to check somebody's brand out, right? So I think this might be the last poll that I just kind of wanted to have you guys do. So again, 20 seconds for this one, right? Actually, I lied. It may not be the last poll, but let's see how we go. All right, here we go. All right, so this poll is asking you guys, you know, what social media platform do you use the most, right? And I just wanted to ask this just so that we can kind of all see who's using what and how much of it are you using, right? So I know a lot of us may use several social media platforms, but this is all about which one do we use the most, right? Wow, this question got real responses. All right, so I'm gonna close the poll right now. Get your answers in quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So we look at the results of it. All right, majority of people, TikTok. I figured that would be number one, right? So 34% of you say TikTok. You know, 21% in Instagram. Facebook was third. Actually, no, YouTube was third, right? So, you know, nobody uses Twitter. Yeah, in the Caribbean, most of us don't really use Twitter. So, you know, the fact that we know there's so many platforms out there. They are, you know, and a lot of us are on multiple platforms. The question is, you know, how do you present yourself, or how do you present your best self virtually? And I'm gonna kind of sidetrack here for a second and distinguish something, because I get this a lot, right? In terms of, well, you know, I can't be expected, especially on my own personal social media accounts, to, you know, be one way, and usually that one way is the prim and proper way. And then, you know, where am I supposed to have fun? Where am I gonna post my pictures of me and my friends, you know, out and about? Where am I gonna? It's a little bit of a tricky thing, and there are ways to do it, and I can spend an entire other session on the ways to separate them. But the key here is, you know, there's always going to be kind of your private life and then your public life, right? Things you want to keep in a closed circle, things you want, you know, any and everybody to kind of be able to see about you. So when it comes to online stuff, be careful where you put things. Draw a line of separation somewhere. And, you know, because I figured that TikTok would be number one, I said to myself, well, hey, what's going on TikTok more than anything else? And it's videos, right? And it's usually videos that we create of ourselves. And that's not a problem, but just make sure it's the right video sometimes. And, you know, it's, hey, the latest dance craze or whatever, that's fine. That's not a problem. You want to make sure that, you know, it's not going to be too judgmental about others. You want to make sure that, you know, it's not embarrassing yourself or anybody else. All of that comes back to your brand. But you having fun and you and your friends having fun and records of that, that's a good thing, right? That shows that you're a social being, and that shows that you know, there are different sides to you. So, you know, but the idea here is just to be careful, and you know, if you need to, separate it between kind of what you really want to keep private and what you you know, want out there. So you know, the question a lot of times is, why do you need to present your best self online and virtually? A lot of it is, you know, again, your brand to the public, your reputation, whether it's now or in the future, like I mentioned before, the legacy you leave behind, you know, professionally and socially. Again, a lot of companies, when you know, go out into the world of work and you're looking for a job, trust me, people go online and look at your profiles on Facebook. They go online and look at your Instagram account. They go online and look at TikTok videos because they want to see who they're hiring. And from a social perspective, I think that's probably something we all know, right? We hear somebody's name, first thing we do is look them up on Facebook or Instagram to see who that person is. So again, be really careful. And that's the why you need to make sure you present your best self to, out there, and especially online. The way I already covered, right? It's everywhere. It's just to the public in general. The how you do it is the question, right? And that's a question that I don't have a singular answer for. I don't have, and nobody has a singular answer for, because it's a very complicated question that depends on you as an individual. All right, wrapping up here, I'm just going to talk for 3 minutes on, the public image of your club. This can more or less be summarized and filtered down to one thing and one thing alone you guys need to walk away with when it comes to the public image of your club. And it comes down to the brand of your club. And in this case, when we talk about brand, I'm specifically referring to your club's logo, right? The question really is, are you using the correct logo for your club? And I can tell you for a fact that many of the Interact clubs in our district are not using the correct version of the logo that they're supposed to. They're still using a very old version of a logo. In some cases, a club may be using an old version here and a new version somewhere else, so there's inconsistency. On your screen right now is a kind of generic example of what your updated, up-to-date, current club logo should look like, right? It has the Interact name on it, it has the Rotary wheel on it, and it has the name of your Interact club at the bottom. That is more or less the standard. You're not supposed to change the color scheme. You're not supposed to do anything else or make any alterations, use different fonts, nothing like that. There is a template that you can use to generate these logos. If you can't do it yourself, I guarantee your sponsor, Rotary Club, can do it for you. So please make sure that your club is gonna update its logo and will be using the right logo. I know I'm gonna run a little short on time here, so I'm not gonna bother with this next poll. But there is a checklist when it comes to your club's brand and your club's logo. Specifically, it's, again, make sure that you're using the most up-to-date and correct logo, and make sure you're using it everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean, you have a Facebook account, make sure it's there. You have a website, make sure it's there. You print t-shirts, make sure you put it on your t-shirts. You do tickets for an event, make sure the ticket has the right logo and the same consistent logo throughout. Their branding guidelines. There are several single-page, multi-page documents that will help you make sure that you're doing the right thing in the right way. If you need them, if you never heard about them, if you want to get access to them, talk to your sponsor Rotary Club. Get help from your sponsor Rotary Club. That's what they're there to do. They're there to help you in matters like this. If it is that your club may not be able to help you for one reason or another, come to us at the district. That is one of the functions and roles of district committees, particularly the District Interact Committee. And I will also say the District Public Image Committee. We're here to help you guys. It's not just about Rotary clubs. We're here to help all clubs in our district: Rotary, Rotaract, Interact, Early Act. This is just a list of where you can get help. Again, other than your sponsor Rotary Club, everybody has access and can go to myrotary.org. And you can, without even having an account and logging in, you can get a lot of resources from it. The district website has a lot of resources as well for Interact clubs. And of course, if you really need to, you can email the Interact committee or the public image team, and we will be happy to help you. Again, I'm going to skip this poll just because we're going to run short on time. And I know some of you guys had a question, so I want to answer that question really quickly. So where was it? So one question was, does branding come in like how to start a business? And that was from Tyreek. Yes, Tyreek. If your question is, I'm looking to start a business and is branding important? Hell yeah, it is. It is so important. Because, you know, especially if you're a new business, you want to make sure you get the right message there, message out, you know, from Jump Street. You want to make sure that everybody knows and understand what your business stands for. Not just, you know, the name of it or what the logo is, but again, kind of the story behind it. And I'll emphasize your question as an example of how important story is, especially for something new like a business, right? You want a story to go along with your business to be part of the brand of the business. That's a key element to helping you succeed. People love to tell a story, even if it's about a business. So having a good story as part of your brand, in addition to a good logo, in addition to a good name, can go a long way to kickstart things in the right direction. Yeah. I see a couple more questions coming in, but I want to be respectful of time. So I'm going to let, I'll answer the questions. I'll type answers in if I'm out of time, but I'm going to just pause for a second. And if you guys want me to answer the questions in an official Q&A capacity, we can do that. If not, thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Rotary and Sean. And now I'd like to invite District Interact Committee members, Dina and Nada and Interactor Matthew from Shiva Boys Hindu College to facilitate the question and answer segment.
Sean, I want to ask a question. I hope this will be beneficial. In terms of the young people, if one of them were to ask, who needs to know me so I can reach my goals?
So without knowing exactly what type of goals we're talking about here, I'm just gonna take a stab at it and say, if you're talking about professional goals and who needs to know you in order to meet your professional goals, whether it is that you're looking to start your career or whatever it may be, you know, look in terms of kind of a means to an end, right? First, what's the end? The end is you wanting to get a job somewhere. So obviously, the brand that you put out and who you put that brand out to should help you get that job, right? Mm-hmm. So you know, if you have connections, that's a kind of commonly used term, right? It's sometimes not just about the connection, it's about what information the connection gets. And that comes back to, you know, your story, your brand. What are they hearing about you? What are they not hearing about you? If you're talking about goals as far as, let's say, Interact, and who should know about you and where your brand should be going in order to achieve Interact goals, again, I guess it depends on the actual, you know, activity or the objective of that club, right? Or that individual interactor. What is it that you want to achieve? Do you want to, you know, do a better project or have a better fundraiser? Mm-hmm. You know, there are people that, again, means to an end, right? There are people that can help you do that. So if you don't know who those people are, that's again where, you know, getting help and finding out is key first, right? Talk to your sponsor club, talk to other Interact clubs first, find out who those people are that can help you, and then make sure that they're going to get the right message from you. That's a kind of general answer to your question. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any other questions from the audience?
So there are a few I have that they direct message me. If I have the time, I try to answer them. I don't want to take up too much time. Would you like me to?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I want to try and go in order here. So I got a question from Maurice, which says, what are some good methods of offline personal branding? That's a good question, Maurice. Yeah. So offline, right? Which means pretty much how you interact with somebody in person, in their presence, right? It comes down to everything from, you know, who that person is and kind of what the need is, right? Is it somebody that you want to, you know, interact, sorry, I was going to say interact with on an interact basis, but that might be confusing. Is it somebody that you want to engage with on behalf of your Interact club? or is it somebody that you want to engage with on your own behalf? And, you know, if it's from your own behalf and it's something like a job or from a social position, you know, it comes down, unfortunately, we're all human, right? And it comes down to sometimes cosmetic things, how you look, how you talk, how you walk, you know, what other people are saying about you. But, you know, again, because of the world we live in now, I guarantee you 99% of the time, within 5 minutes of meeting you, somebody's on their phone or online looking you up and looking up your profile on Facebook or your Instagram account or your TikTok account or whatever it is. So you want to make sure that even though you're talking to them and engaging them offline, you want to make sure your online stuff is good, right? But in terms of an offline presence, yeah, I mean, you know, just think about putting your best foot forward. You know, hey, a smile and a handshake still goes a long way. Yeah. I got another question here from, let's see here, Terrell. How do you go about rebranding yourself if people have a limited perspective of you? So Terrell, I don't know if you meant limited perspective or if they have a bad perspective of you and you need to rebrand yourself. All right, a limited perspective just means you need to get more of yourself out there. But if you mean a bad perspective and changing people's opinion of you, that's a tricky thing, right? Because hey, we all know it's not easy sometimes to change somebody's mind, especially if, and as people say, right, you only have one chance to make a first impression. So if somebody or a group of people, you know, have a bad perspective of you or a bad opinion of you, it may be, I'll be honest with you, it may be an uphill battle to change their mind. But here's the thing, because we're human, a lot of the times we tend to go with whatever direction the majority is going. So if you can, you know, don't focus on those few people that may not have the best opinion of you. Focus on the people who do have a good opinion of you and grow that group. And I guarantee you eventually, if that group becomes big enough, the persons that had a poor opinion of you, their voice will be so quiet that nobody's hearing them, or they may just change their mind entirely because everybody else is saying the opposite. And by opposite, I mean good things about you. I got one from Goodell. Do you think a positive or negative brand is more impactful, whether it be for good or bad? Hey, so again, I'm a kind of blunt and honest person, right? Bad news spreads faster than good news, right? And, you know, again, we're all human. And one of the things that, you know, again, we all, especially in the Caribbean, right? What we all love is a good story. And what we all really love is a good story about somebody. And if that story is, oh my God, did you hear so-and-so did so-and-so and or did not do so-and-so, you know, it's you know, the rumor mill, right? The only thing that's faster than light, right, is gossip. So I mean, to answer your question, if positive or negative, you know, branding and reputation is more impactful, hey, it can be. Either one can be. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's why, but I will say that's why you need to make sure you get the positive message out there first. That's why you need to make sure you get the positive message out there more than the negative. Yeah, so that's what more people see or most people see, not the negative stuff. You don't want them focusing on that. But then again, too, remember what I said, right? There are whole new companies out there that you pay, well, not you, but people pay to manage their reputation for them and make sure that the negative is minimized and the positive is highlighted. We still have a little bit of time, Dino, or I know I'm seeing we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add to what you said, Sean, if you don't mind. I think it's so important to, from the very beginning, to project your authentic self, and you would avoid a lot of problems later on.
Absolutely. So guys, let me take the last chance here. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys, you know, came out to this with at least a little bit more knowledge than when you came into it. I'm gonna make sure and put all my contact info and all those links that I had in the slideshow in the chat box, so you guys can grab them from there. And, you know, always happy to get emails and communicate with, you know, every member of the Rotary family in our district, right? Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors, we're here to help. We're here to get you from A to B. We're here to make things better for you, you know, so that you can do better projects and bigger projects and make more of an impact in your community and as well as, you know, within your membership and your clubs as well. So thank you again.
Sean, before you go, I have one more question for you, if possible.
Of course.
Do you think it is important for Interact clubs and Rotary clubs to be on LinkedIn?
The clubs themselves, Matthew, or the individuals in the clubs?
Both the clubs and the individuals.
Put it this way, from a club perspective, it never hurts to have a LinkedIn account. When the club has a LinkedIn account for a club or an organization or a business will always help you network a lot better. You know, LinkedIn in particularly the way they're doing things now, you know, it's similar to networking on Facebook, but kind of more from a professional or you know, non-casual standpoint or you know, so to answer the question shortly, yes, a club is encouraged to have a LinkedIn account. As with regards to individual members of a club, as in whether an interactor himself or herself should have a LinkedIn account, again, it's encouraged because LinkedIn these days for a lot of companies who are looking for new employees, who are looking for, you know, references and whatnot, that is becoming a very much so a go-to standard. So if you do not have a LinkedIn account, you could possibly be missing out on potential opportunities, especially from a professional standpoint. Does that kind of cover it, Matthew?
Thank you for that clarification. One more question though. What will you tell young people to focus on as a starting point, as in the main objective or the main point you should focus on?
Sean, before you answer, let's make this the last question, please, because
yes, because I know we're running over time here. Yes. Sorry, Matthew. So essentially, the question was, what's the one thing when it comes to what? Sorry.
What's the one thing you would tell the young people to focus on as a starting point?
Okay. Again, if it's with respect to personal branding, the one thing is your story, right? If I had to pick one thing, make sure that your story is the one that's getting out there. Your story told by you is the one that's getting out there. You know, and not a story about you from someone else. Make it yours. Make sure it's the right thing you want said about you. That way you have more control on it. If it's with regard to an Interact club, kind of the same deal. Yeah, make sure it's that the story comes from the club, that it comes from members of the club. You know, whether it's an individual member's story from an Interact perspective, or whether it's a collective story about the club. Make sure it comes from you. Make sure that it says what you want it to say, and make sure you just get it out there to as many people and through as many avenues as possible.
Right. Thank you very much for that clarification.
All right, great. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, Rotary and Sean, for that very informative presentation on branding. Now I would like to introduce Interactor Anais from Interact BH HSE for the official vote of thanks.
Fellow Interactors, Rotaractors, Rotarians, and friends of Rotary, it is my distinct honor to deliver the vote of thanks to our presenters this evening. Our very own Rotary International Zone 34 Assistant Public Image Coordinator, Sean Paddy. What an outstanding and dynamic presentation on personal branding and public image. I know I speak for all our interactors here this evening when I say that we were absolutely impressed by the quality of your presentations, your delivery, and your expertise. We thank you immensely for giving us your time to deliver on such a critical area to us as young and aspiring leaders who truly want to be the best that we can be at all times. I can assure you that we'll be utilizing all the tips and strategies shared on personal branding to develop and improve our own personal and individual brands. As interactors, public image is also particularly essential in our outreach, and we appreciate you for taking the time to share the correct branding requirements, which should be utilized by our very own clubs. We are indeed grateful to you and say thank you once again.
Good evening, my Rotary family. It looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of good old-fashioned improvising. If I'm not mistaken, our immediate past District Governor Sonya has gone to get some well-deserved rest after her flight from the UK. But of course, this gives me the opportunity to wrap up our pre-conference session tonight and to thank all the participants. Obviously, I would like to thank the district leadership team headed by District Governor Leslie and our truly amazing interactors. I know I saw it, I'm not sure you did, but immediate past District Governor Sonya had tears in her eyes at the very beginning when she saw how we started out. So I know she's so proud of you, like everybody else that was with us tonight. So thank you very much for volunteering, for stepping up. I know we all have a little bit of anticipation when it comes to these things, but I think you all did an absolutely amazing job. And I know you haven't seen it all yet. We have some absolutely fantastic speakers lined up for the next 2 days, on Saturday and Sunday. Some people that have really, really interesting stories to tell, to give you an idea where you can go or where you may go in life and in your Rotary journey. So I would like to please make sure we see you again on Saturday and Sunday at 6 o'clock, 5:45 for some videos. If you have a friend, please tell them what they missed tonight. See, the 2 hours went in no time. So it would be really, really nice if you had a few more interactors join us on Saturday and Sunday. Or if you have a prospective interactor, somebody you would like to invite to join our Interact Club, bring them along. Let them listen to our presenters on the weekend coming up. So thank you very much and see you all on Saturday.